But what I do think that we have to talk about is the fact that all of us are in this boat together, right? We're in this boat together and everyone's dealing with what's happening. We're all dealing with the fact that the courts are being defied, right? Literally, the Supreme Court is being defied. We're all dealing with the fact that there's a trade war escalating. We're all dealing with the fact that the Constitution is collapsing. We're all dealing with the global superpower shifting. And with that being said, guys, we got to talk about it. Because again, I know it's easy. I know it's easy to say, oh, it's MAGA supporters. But at the end of the day, we have to figure out, come on, camera. There we go. We have to figure out, how do we fix this together? I know it's easy to say, well, I didn't break it, so I shouldn't have to fix it. I get it. I get it. It's really easy to say, I didn't break this, so I shouldn't have to fix it. But I think the thing that we have to realize is that we all live in this country together. Guys, what I'm going to do, I know there's like normally an issue with finding, I don't know what's been going on with TikTok. TikTok has been funny lately, guys. TikTok has absolutely been funny lately, guys. And so what I'm going to do is bring my backup up. And if you are interested in actually joining the conversation, you should be able to find the request. And I will go ahead and bring anyone up. Again, this is Late Nights with Santana. Late Nights with Santana, so that means everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome, and you do not have to be a Trump supporter to get on this panel. You absolutely do not have to be a Trump supporter to get on this panel. You just have to be an American. You just have to be someone that believes in the United States of America. That's the only thing that we're looking for. Hey, Haley. Hello, hello. You just have to be someone that believes in the United States of America and you want to actually speak to your fellow Americans. Because again, we're at the point where everyone's dealing with this. I think that's the important thing to actually acknowledge, right? Because when we talk about the courts being defied, no, you're way cooler than I am. When we talk about the courts being defied, think about how big of a deal that is. When we have a president, when we have a government that's willing to say, we're not going to listen to what the Supreme Court says, then what's stopping them from doing anything else? What's stopping the government from actually executing any and every order that they want to execute? And guys, that's not an issue just for leftists or left-leaning people. That's an issue for every single American. That's something that we all have to deal with. And then when you talk about the trade war, right? We understand that tariffs are paid by consumers. We get that. We get that tariffs are paid by consumers. And an escalating trade war, especially with China, is something that impacts all of us. And I know that certain people like to think, oh, well, I'm just not going to buy stuff from China. It's not that simple. Even when you talk about like American-made cars, think about the amount of parts that are put into even American-made cars that are from China. So again, I know it's really easy to say, well, I'm just not going to do this, but we're all affected. Guys, if you're interested in joining the conversation, again, you do not have to be a Trump supporter to come up on the panel and join the conversation. Each and every person, you just have to be an American who is interested in actually joining the conversation. You just have to be someone that actually wants to be a part of the conversation, and we'll get you in. The next point that I want to make sure that I talk about as well is the Constitution. All right? Because when we talk about First Amendment rights being infringed, and I know they like to kind of, oh, it's fine. You don't have to worry, friend. When they talk about like protesters and deporting people, please understand that once they start taking away one person's constitutional rights, it's not going to stop, because they're going to set a precedence. So when you let them actually deport people for executing freedom of speech, then you're now limiting your freedom of speech. And it doesn't matter if you're on the left or right. It does not matter if you're on the left or right. Your freedom of speech should never be restricted. And last but not least, talking about the global superpower shift. You know what's so interesting about the overall concept as far as what's happening with China, right? This administration is making China out to be the bad guys, which I'm not sympathizing for China, right? But the thing that a lot of people aren't understanding is that we're leaving an opening for China. And I heard someone say this, and I think it's been parroted from the Chinese government, but China has been around for 5,000 years. China's going to be okay. China's going to be okay. China has been through way more than we have ever been through. China's going to be okay. But you're giving China an avenue to actually shift the balance of power and take more control. So with that being said, guys, request up. Request up. It doesn't matter if you're someone that actually is a Trump supporter or not. That's what this is not what this live is about this week. I mean, I genuinely mean this when I say I am looking for each and every person, anyone that is an American, anyone that wants to actually share their voice, because the question has to be, why are we the divided states of America? And even more than why is, how do we fix it? How do we fix it? If you're joining the panel, please, please, please know that I'm going to want you to talk to me about how do we fix it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing introductions. And again, if you are someone that is interested in joining the panel, if you're someone that's interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. It does not matter what side of the aisle that you are on. Every person is welcome. Every person is welcome. Thank you for the heart me. Guys, keep tapping the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the shares up as well. Do we have no shares? Oh, wait, how many shares do we have? I don't see any shares. Is that just me? Am I tripping? Does anyone else see shares? I might be tripping. Anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and do a quick introduction. Let's start with Chris. Chris, what up, my brother? Oh, listen. Oh, first and foremost, what up, Chris? Secondly, guys, if you have not, we dropped the first episode of the Culture and Chaos podcast today. Make sure you're following us on all the platforms. It's on YouTube right now. We're working through making sure that it's on Spotify, Apple Music, like all the other avenues wherever you watch your podcast or listen to your podcast. But you can go watch it right now on YouTube. Thank you for reminding me of that, Chris. Chris, got a question for you. What do you think is going to take for America to not necessarily just come together, but start to heal, make a shift from where we are right now? Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, I think that a lot of people don't understand the overall impact of tariffs, but I definitely agree with you. I think that's definitely a way that we can start to make that shift. Thank you, Chris. Gucci. Hey, Gucci, how are you? I'm Gucci. Gucci, what do you think it'll take for the country to start making a shift towards healing? Mhm. Yeah, no, like I agree, right? And I get that, and even more so, I get certain people thinking like, and that's why I said like I want people to actually be able to speak on this while understanding that it's not just going to be about, well, I blame MAGA, right? And again, that's something that I need everyone to really understand is that when it we're not just going to be talking about who's at fault, but we're going to be talking about how do we fix it? How do we get things going in the right direction? So I'm really happy to hear you say that. Okay, let's do this. I'm just going to call you Express. Is that okay? Can I just call you Express? Okay. All right, Express. Express, can you tell me what does the country need to do to start to heal and moving in the right direction? White supremacy. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a big thing. And I definitely know for a fact that's something. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. YouTube, can you guys still not hear? I'm sorry, guys, one moment, because YouTube is saying that they can't hear the people on the panel. YouTube. What about now? I'm checking the settings. TikTok did an actual update, and I'm trying to check the settings. So hopefully we'll be able to get this fixed really, really quick. Really, really quick. But let me know if you guys over on YouTube, if you still can't hear the actual panel speaking. Um, drop, still not there? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna keep working on it, guys. Give me just half a second. I promise you we're gonna get it going. All right, Express. Yeah, I completely agree. Thank you. Chris, how are you? Chris, are you there?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Chris, tell me, what is it gonna take for us to actually start to make that shift, and start to heal the country?
Boat. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, no, no, no. I completely agree. I think that's super important, and I think that voting for change is really important, especially when you talk about the actual you talk about these lifelong politicians and yeah, it's a thing. Chris, do me a favor if you could. I think I just changed something. Can you just count to 10 for me to see if YouTube can hear you? And YouTube, as Chris is counting, can you guys let me know? Oh, wait, audio is good now. So, okay, so you can hear. Oh, there it is. Okay, we're good. Never mind. All right, perfect. Awesome. All right, give me a second here, Chris. All right, tongue wrestler, how are you? I'm gonna send you a request to come off mute. Tongue Wrestler, are you there? Tongue Wrestler going once. Tongue Wrestler going twice. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you back down, Tongue Wrestler. All right. Guys, so let's go ahead and get it started. And again, if you are interested in actually joining the conversation, again, it does not matter who you actually voted for because, again, we are all on this ship together. We need everyone. We need each and every person's opinion because, guys, everyone is dealing with this together. So if you are interested in actually lending your voice, the only requirement that I have, well, besides age, is that you are an American. It doesn't matter if you vote for Donald Trump. It doesn't matter if you vote for Kamala Harris. Hell, I don't even care if you voted for Jill Stein, Cornel West, RFK, anybody, because we're all in this boat together. So go ahead and request up. With that being said, just a couple of things for the people on the panel to remember, guys. Please use TikTok friendly language. That means unalive, C19, Schmurder, Mustache Man, all of those types of things that not only protect your TikTok, but it also protects the live and allows us to continue to have this conversation. Also, guys, this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms. Sexism, racism, classism. We also don't deal with any of the phobias. Homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't play it on the panel, nor do we play it in the chat. And speaking of the chat, please remember, caps are for mods. Please do not use caps. They draw my attention away from the panel and to the chat, and it will actually take away from the conversation, and we don't want to do that. So please be respectful. My mutes, again, my mods, they do not play that. They will mute and block you. Last but not least, guys, let's keep doing all the things, right? The likes are moving kind of slow. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the shares up as well. Also, guys, we have a nightly donation goal, and I just have to say massive freaking W's in the chat for Kimberly, who started us off with a shebang, donating $50, saying thank you for everything. I hope to see you on your tour. Thank you so much, Kimberly. That means so much to me. I hope to see you as well. You're freaking awesome. Guys, that means that there's only $200 left in the nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And if you're over on YouTube, What up, YouTube? What up, Twitch? You can donate through Super Chat over on YouTube, and I will read your message off. With that being said, Express, I want to start with you because you said a word. You said a word. You definitely you listen. You said something that made my ears perk up, and you said that basically it's going to take more to make a shift in this country than just the basic things. We have to start to turn away from white supremacy, right? We have to start to turn away from, in my opinion, the patriarch.
Mhm.
So understanding that, right? I know I posed the point that our constitution is collapsing, but I say that, and I always say that our constitution wasn't made for everyone, because when the constitution was actually created, it specifically was made for white men that own land. So I guess my question to you would be, would it be worth the Constitution collapsing if that means that we can get away from the patriarch and white supremacy? Or do we need to find a way to actually try to repair it while actually moving away from it at the same time?
Mm, that's a good question. uh, I don't know exactly how to answer, but I do agree with what you're saying, and I think the founding fathers, and I've just been learning lately about that more of the history and how there were literally laws that said that white people were citizens and those that weren't, and that blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, maybe a new one, but it seems like it would take a lot of awareness to get us to the point where reform is possible, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense to me because again, this is something that I've talked about as well, and that's the thing. Like the problem that I kind of have is, like, I do feel like there's a need for a new constitution, but at the same time, I mean, we're so divided in this country. Who says that if we are able to, or agree that we need a new constitution, who says that this is going to be better than what we have? I mean, like, there's a possibility that it could possibly be worse than what we already have now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's looking like it would be, based on how things are going. So I
Yeah,
agree with you.
yeah, absolutely. Chris, I want to come to you. I want to come to you because I want to actually get your thoughts on this as well, right? Because we're talking about the fact that overall there's a lot that needs to happen within the country to make a shift to go in the right direction. And the the Constitution is what's supposed to sustain us, right? And there's constitutional rights being stripped away. So is there a need to actually let the Constitution collapse, which understanding that's going to put even more people in danger and possibly get a new one? Or do we need to just find ways to fix it? Find ways to actually fix where we are?
I think that we need to um, find a way to, and this might be a controversial take, so take it
Mm-hmm.
how you will,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that it's really important for us to hold our ground and remember who we are and what our rights are.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. Like, my mom and dad taught me to always hold my ground and to always be aware of what my rights are and who I am as a person. And I think that if we continue to stand on those values and, hold our ground, I think it could potentially speak volumes, if that makes sense.
No, it absolutely does. I mean, I think there is a lot to be said about actually staying rooted in who you are, what you believe in, and also what we should be about. But Chris, I mean, again, Constitution doesn't seem to necessarily be working for everyone. So how do you defend sticking to that when one, it wasn't created for people like me and you? I mean, heck, I don't want to assume Ace is not a white man. Um, but Ace, are you a white man? Ace, I'm gonna send you a request to come off mute. Ace, are you there?
All right, yeah, it was a little weird on the microphones.
Anywhere? Ace, are you
No,
a white man?
no,
Okay, and see that's what I didn't want to take that for granted. All
no,
right,
no,
hold,
no, no. I'm
give me
half Mexican, half black. You know, I am a little interracial here, but
okay, okay, cool.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Okay, give me 1 second. So, Chris, the Constitution wasn't made for anyone on this panel. There's no one on this panel right now that the Constitution was actually crafted for. So, should we stick to something that was made for others and not for everyone?
I see what you're doing. You're challenging me, and I like that. Um, and I, now that you say that, I agree with you. The Constitution was not made for people like you and I. And I think that now now that you're putting that perspective in my mind, I think that there needs to be more of a conversation. And I think um, things like this, for example, can be a good start. And I think that being able to have those conversations in our communities is also a really good start as well.
Yeah, no, listen, I agree. And I like the whole thing that I think about as well is like, how do we actually do it? And as a matter of fact, I don't even want to talk about how we do it. Gucci, I want to come to you. I want to come to you. Gucci.
Yes.
So again, like we understand that our fundamental rights are being infringed on. And at this point, is it even worth fighting for those rights, right? Is it if the Supreme Court and the State Department is willing to say that it's okay to deport people for utilizing their First Amendment right, does that not speak to the fact that the Constitution is either not a living document like it should be, or that this country has broken its social contract with its people? What are your thoughts?
I think I would go more with this country has broken its contract with its people. And as much as I would like to say we need to like overturn the entire constitution and make it fair for everyone, I think our leadership in this country is still too racist for anything we come up with at this point in time to include everyone. And I think like the Constitution, the idea of it works, but there's too many loopholes built into it that certain people can skirt around the Constitution without getting actual like legal trouble, which honestly doesn't make sense. That he can just defy the Supreme Court and nothing happens. So I think maybe like to start with, we can try to address said loopholes that allow people to, I guess, not benefit from the protections that the Constitution has.
Yeah. And you know, so the thing that gets me as well though, and I struggle with this because we always think about like our constitutional rights. But I talk about the constitutional rights that undocumented immigrants have, right? We understand that the Constitution also protects undocumented immigrants for their Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment. But then we're talking about the Constitution failing or collapsing when the First Amendment is not being adhered to when they're deporting people for protesting, but also when they're sending people out of the country without due process, without actually giving them due process. And so it's multiple ways that the Constitution is starting to fail. And so I guess the question that I'll come back to you with for a moment, Gucci, is what happens when not only does the Constitution continues to collapse, but then you have an administration that's willing to continue to defy the courts, right? Because we understand that the Supreme Court voted 9-0. Gucci, the
Yeah,
Supreme Court voted 9-0,
that was insane that that happened,
right?
and they were still able to say no.
And Donald Trump is skirted around it with the El Salvadorian president and said, well, hands tied, nothing I can do. So what happens when the Constitution, not only is the Constitution crumbling, but you have people that are willing to defy the courts the few times that they are willing to stand up and say no?
You know, honestly, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Of all the things I assumed or saw happening with this administration, that was not one of it. I did not foresee the Supreme Court being unanimously on the same page and the president defying that order and nothing happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always assumed at least the Supreme Court was of a no, like they are basically on his side, that he would listen to them. That may have been naive of me to assume that he would. But I'm not sure what the laws are in terms of like defining the Supreme Court. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's a process. I mean, it's kind of like the issue with this, right, is respecting the law and actually doing the things that the Supreme Court is saying that you have to do. It's kind of like a handshake agreement, right? I mean, there's levers and mechanisms that the courts can go through, but then you talk about getting the marshals involved, and then the marshals actually fall under the executive branch. It's like it's really conflated.
Yes.
So it's a lot to it.
And I think that's kind of like where the loopholes come into place because Alien whatever act that he
Alien
enacted,
Enemies Act.
yes, should not override someone's constitutional rights.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that should not be possible, but it is possible because there's a loophole where if he enacts that, then he can do whatever he wants. And so that's like the kind of loopholes that I think we should address in terms of how the constitutions apply to the people on the U.S. soil.
Yeah, no, I agree. I want to go over to Ace for a moment. Ace, how are you?
What's going on, Santana?
Listen, Ace, before I get to my question for you, there's one other introductory question that I have for you. What do you think that we need to do as a country to start taking the steps to get in the right direction of healing, to get out of such a divisive time and get to a place where we're thinking about each other and not just about ourselves?
That's the question, Santana.
Gotcha.
I mean, you see who's on my profile picture.
I was just about to say, I figured that you could handle it because I saw the PFP.
It's one of the reasons why, I love that man. He's a hero of mine.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, for what he did and trying to pull people together. But and that is a tough question. I mean, do we just blow up the Constitution and start over? You're right. That could be dangerous. That could be dangerous.
Right.
Okay. And I know you probably have come across this. This is my first time in your live. I kind of like how it's set up. How many people actually know what their constitutional rights are? What
Not
rights
a
are
lot.
for them and what rights are not for them?
Not a lot. Not only that, right? They misinterpret or misunderstand what their constitutional rights are, and then who actually has said protections. It's a lot of people that don't understand a lot of things about the
The
Constitution.
loophole. That's the loophole.
Mhm.
This administration can get away with it because he's got a base who's not going to pressure their representatives and their senators. Hey, this man's violating the Constitution. Don't let him do that. They're complicit with their silence.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is the loophole.
Yep. Okay, so and now the actual question. What do we do, right? And I know that's kind of like vague, but what do we do when the courts are losing power because you have an actual branch that is unwilling to adhere to what the courts are saying? And yes, we understand that the Congress is supposed to act, but Mike Johnson has also surrendered power to Donald Trump. So what does that look like when this administration has the rights, or not even necessarily rights, but the ability to do whatever they want to everyday Americans and know that there's not going to be any type of real consequences for their actions?
Well, I mean, in our history, you talk about civil rights. How did we get changes done then? How did that
Right.
happen?
Oh, it was unrest. It
Okay,
was I don't listen. I don't think we have the moxie for it anymore.
you know, you're right on the point. So there's other things we have an untapped resource. How many
Hmm.
people voted in the last election?
Not a lot. What is it? 100, about 180, no, about 150 million. If
And
I
there's another 100
math.
million, you know, legal registered, possibly registered, you know, can register to vote.
Hmm.
So there's the untapped resource. I mean, I take it on anybody. If you really want to, you know, do your part, convince one person who does not vote to vote.
Mm.
One,
How?
one.
And I'm sorry, I'm gonna push back on you. So I did something that I have never done before, in this past election, right? I actually phone banked. And I wanted to get an opportunity. I did not get an opportunity to go knock on doors in Arizona, but I wanted to. But like how? There certain people who don't, they feel like their votes don't matter, or they feel like nothing's gonna actually change, and they're unwilling to understand how powerful their vote is. And so, speaking from firsthand knowledge and firsthand experience, like it's kind of hard to convince those people. So, what should we do?
There's going to be a lot of trial and error in this because you got to find the right message to connect with certain people. You know,
Hmm.
Santana, what message resonates with you might be different than what resonates with Chris
Hmm.
or Gucci.
Hmm.
You know, we got to play on that. One thing you can't do, and this is the in my opinion, you can't be quiet.
Mm.
Okay, that's the one thing. It's not just what we can do. The one thing you can't is
Yeah.
be quiet.
Well, listen, I mean, you seem like someone that might know this, so I'm just going to go ahead and grant you this. The reason why Schindler was able to do what he was able to do is because people were complicit. There
Hey,
were
it's
there
it.
were there were enough people saying, "It's not me."
You want it. There's a good wisdom saying. It says the only way evil triumphs is when good men do nothing.
Yep, yep, absolutely, absolutely. All right, give me a second here. Let me read this off, and then I want to come to Sarah. Guys, massive, massive, massive W's in the chat for I think it's pronounced Lindsay. I know that Lindsay. W's in the chat for Lindsay, who sent a $10 donation saying, "Can't wait to see you in College Station." I am so excited about that, to be out and about around the people and actually really try to do something that Ace is saying. I know there's a lot of people that's excited about a lot of different things, but the thing that I'm more excited about is the possibility of changing voters' minds and actually encouraging people to use their voice, encouraging people to use their vote, encouraging people to actually stand up, say something, and do something, and not just sit back and let it happen to them. So that's what I'm actually excited about. And I'm excited for some Texas barbecue. I love Texas barbecue, Texas steaks, all of it. But W's in the chat, thank you so much. Thank you for that, guys. That means that we only have $190 left in our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And if you're over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat to actually help support, and I will read your message off. Sarah, hey Sarah.
Hello.
Hello, Sarah. What do we need to do as a country to start to get back on the right track?
I I think we need to be more kind. That's going to sound
Mm,
so um, off, but I
mm,
I I debate a lot of MAGA sometimes. Well, not all the time. Almost every night. Okay, and
mm,
what I've noticed a pattern is they are trying. They love getting reactions out of
mm,
the Democrats, the leftists,
The libs.
yeah, they love to get them to get angry. And I think that it shouldn't be a debate. It should be more of a conversation to have. Definitely a conversation that you could, like, talking to a family member that you really care about, start doing that. And when Ace said that, I'm like, that's super smart. Like, we need to start more conversations. And if they can't, when they can't get a lib or a left mad enough, they crash out and they get upset because they can't do it. They want to show, a lot of them want to say, this is your president. How do you feel? And it's like, we're upset. But if we want to start getting them upset, we need to talk to them, not just tell them their vote was horrible and they're these pathetic people. Like, we need to start talking to them like their family.
Yeah. Listen, that's one of the reasons why I said, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, Sarah. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna lock in to you for a second because I just saw something I've never seen before. All right. That's one of the reasons why I said, like, I wanted to actually talk about not only like blaming people, right? Because it's not just about blame. It's not just about, oh, Hawk, get up on the panel. Get up on the panel, Hawk. Get up on them. Because I kind of really agree, Sarah. I mean, I kind of agree with Sarah. Like, I think that there needs to be a point where we're not just trying to dominate each other. And I say this as someone who, of course, debates a lot, right? I mean, and I deal with people who come from positions of stupidity, but also come from positions of like unearned confidence, a lot of different things. But there are a few, who are genuine, who are still trying to figure it out, and they just like they don't know. And I don't think that we need to always dunk on the other side. If there's an opportunity to be kind, maybe it's time to be kind.
And maybe
That's my thought.
it's me because I have a lot of people in my family that are MAGA, and they're MAGA for the wrong reasons. Like, some of them are just voted for Trump because they wanted something different.
Yeah.
And if we start like asking the questions and talking to them and figure out what do you find important, and then revert it back to what the libs have done, it's I don't know. I just noticed that when they start yelling and getting on me for my vote, like, I'm like, I don't want to take the bait. Like, I don't want to lead with hatred anymore. Like, the anger that they didn't vote for the candidate I wanted. Like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, and that's a personal thing. Okay, so we got Hawk up here who said he strongly disagrees, and I want to hear this, but let me read two things off, because one, this completely blew my mind, and massive W's in the chat for Sir Bobbles, who actually utilized one of his membership perks over on YouTube, which is he gets the ability as members. If there's any of the other members that are watching on YouTube and you don't know this, you actually get the ability to pin a message just like a super chat or whatever without sending an actual donation, and I'll read it off. So Sir Bobbles actually said, being lied to was religiously more popular than understanding the facts. Yeah, you know what? I agree, right? There's a lot of people that lean into misinformation, disinformation because it's comfortable and it's easy. And I do think that's something that we have to push back on, and we have to start to get people to think more critically. I think that a lot of people just accepted it. So yeah, but massive W's in the chat for Sir Bob's. I have not seen someone actually utilize that perk as a member. If you're over on, first of all, again, if you're over on YouTube and you want to support the stream, you can always send a YouTube super chat and I will read your message off. But we do have memberships over on YouTube as well. You get access to our Discord. You get access to a bunch of really cool emotes, and one of the perks is the pinned messages, all of those other things. So consider subscribing. Also, guys, massive W's in the chat for D-Spec, who sent a $5 donation to say, I'm switching to MAGA. JK. Listen, if you guys don't know, I was on Jessica Simone Live, my amazing co-host for the Culture and Chaos podcast. First episode dropped today. And there was someone who said, "Oh, you used to be MAGA. Oh, you just switching up on us?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "No, you used to be in our MAGA lives with us every night. I remember your profile picture." I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, you were MAGA, and now what? You want to get on her stream because she got more people because she's popular? That's why you hopping on this? You switching up?" And I was like, "Take a look at my page." She was like, "Oh, I don't care how many followers you have." I said, No. It's not about the followers. Take a look at the content. I said, my content has always been consistent. I've never been MAGA, ever. I said, but whoever you were talking to, I said, did they ever turn the camera on? She was like, no, they never turned the camera on. I was like, yeah, I turn my camera on about 90% of the time. So if it was me, you would have saw my face. Anyway.
Sorry. I wanted to say something real fast before Hawk talks, because I love Hawk. I have massive respect for him. I think there's a difference between some MAGA and...
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let me finish this off. But yeah, that's why D-Sub sent that $5 donation. But guys, that means that we're now only $185 from closing out the nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. All right, Sarah, go ahead and finish your point, and then Hawk, you have the floor.
Yes. I think there's like two types of MAGA people. Ones that are misinformed with a lot of things, and there's also the ones that voted for Trump because they are full of hate to race, sexuality, stuff like that. Those people, yeah, you're never changing their mind. Forget about it. But there's some MAGA that are just misinformed, uneducated, and stuff. And I think those are the people that we really need to talk about, not the ones that can't be changed.
Okay. Hawk, you said you strongly. You said you didn't just say you disagree. You said you strongly disagree.
I don't think I used an adjective at all, but I'll take it. So you guys have actually changed the narrative slightly before I got to speak, so that's a good thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Because the last thing that she said.
What were your thoughts, and then now where are you?
Well, my original thought is that it's entirely up to them. Mm-hmm. And understand this. Let me preface this by saying I've been accused by many people, but some that I think highly of, that I give too much grace, right? Because I am that person. I will give you grace until you no longer earn it, right? And that's the issue. And I don't think this is what the young lady who was just speaking meant or whatever, but most of them have not earned it, right? And that's the issue for me. And they're the ones that started this narrative about, why can't we just all get along? And I'm old enough to remember Rodney King, right? And I hate that freaking saying, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing is when they say that to me, I say you first. Because that's the issue. They come with the lack of information and the no sources for their information and all of this stuff or whatever. And they want to beat down the narrative that we have, whereas we can back up everything we say with facts and data, right? At that point, I'm going to match energy. I'm not going to have this calming, colloquial conversation with you. I'm going to give you the facts down and dirty, whether you like it or not. But again, you guys have somewhat adjusted the original statement that I was responding to, because you're right. It's not all of them, right? And I think it depends upon each and every conversation that we're in. But it's that person's responsibility to come correct, just like it's your responsibility to come correct. If they don't come correct, I match energy. It's just that simple.
Yeah. And I apologize. You said sorry, I disagree. I thought it was strongly disagree.
Yeah, I know I didn't use an adjective.
No, you didn't. That was me. So let me just say this, because then I have another question for you guys. The likes are moving kind of slow, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you guys 10 minutes to get to 100,000 likes, or we're going to sub only. 10 minutes to get to 100,000 likes. Listen, I know it's aggressive, but I got faith in you. 10 minutes to get to 100,000 likes, or we're going to sub only. You can always grab a subscription. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. You get access to a fast pass to join the panel. You get access to an amazing Discord with a lot of great people and great resources. You also get access to a lot of really cool emotes and a lot of inside information. So guys, tap the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. You guys got 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Do all the wonderful things. Hawk. So, I agree with you, and especially in the sense of like when they always say, you're absolutely right. So before Donald Trump was the president, everything was like, it was the worst thing in the world. Like Joe Biden was the worst. Like they were so unhappy. Like things were so bad. But now, the fact that Donald Trump is the president, they just want to get along. But they're not doing the actual things to get along.
I would even phrase that differently. It's not that they want to get along. They want us to get along with them.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going, Hawk.
There's a difference. They don't want to just get along. They just want us to agree with them. And I'm sorry, I'm Black and I'm old. And I remember the times when we was just supposed to put our head down and go, yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Right. And that ain't happening no more. Mm-hmm. Right. So again, we've got to use some amount of honesty in our conversations. And I'm sorry, that's sorely lacking on the right in these contemporary times. It just is. Right. They're presenting this cultish behavior because, again, nothing this person says is wrong. They twist themselves into all kinds of pretzels to prove everything that he's doing is right when none of it is right. Mm-hmm. We're sitting here. I remember having debates about the Constitution before this stuff got as crazy as it is or whatever. And we were literally debating the Constitution. Now we're trying to justify the Constitution. I had an argument with somebody in a live today talking about, yeah, I agree with you about the Constitution, but I don't believe it should be that way. Well, then that's your problem. Mm-hmm. That's not a us problem. That's not a constitutional problem. That's a you problem. And if you don't like the Constitution, then petition your representatives to change the laws in this land. But the laws are what they are, and they have to be followed. Yep. So it's the craziness like that just ticks me off or whatever, because we're not having a legitimate conversation then. You're just simply telling us how you feel, and not to be rude, but that doesn't matter. What are the rules? What does the law say?
W's in the chat for Lindsay. I completely agree. And so I guess, Hawk, I need you to do some heavy lifting for me for a second.
I'll give it a shot.
I need you to put your MAGA hat on.
I don't think I have one.
I was just about to say, I don't know. Listen, I need you to get in character. I need you to find it. I need you to find it. What do you think? What do you think they would be willing to give? Or like, what do you think that first step would actually look like for them, that would actually be something that could be a real olive branch to people on the other side, that they would actually be willing to do? Because we understand that, like you just said, a lot of them are so deeply entrenched, and there is a sunken cost where they understand, like, they've given up so much to live this MAGA life. What do you think that they would actually be willing to give? And I guess that would set the actual table for understanding, like, what we should expect.
I have to be 100% honest. As a whole, as a group, nothing. Individually, and this is the problem with it, right? Because their premise is coming from selfishness. And we can break that down into 50,000 things, right? But their premise is coming from selfishness. So unless it affects them specifically, they won't care, right? So as a group, I don't think there is an answer to that question. On an individual basis, it's whatever that is the most important thing to that individual that might make them bring something to the table.
Okay. Okay. All right. Hold tight for me a second. All right. Let's get to the new people on the panel that we haven't had an opportunity to speak with yet. I'm going to try you again. Tongue Wrestler. Wrestler, are you there? I'm going to send you a request to come off mute. Wrestler, are you there? Tongue Wrestler going once. Tongue Wrestler going twice. All right. I'm going to drop you down again. Unicorn, how are you? Unicorn, are you there? Holy smokes. Not 2 for 2. Unicorn going once. Unicorn going twice. Hold on, let me try sending you a... All right, I just sent you an invite to come off mute because it says Unicorn 55, and I don't want to make any assumptions, but, you know. All right, Unicorn, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. You can request back up. Guys, just an FYI, the timer on the screen says 4 minutes and 10 seconds because we have 4 minutes and 7 seconds to get to 100,000 likes, so we're going to sub only. So tap the screen or go ahead and grab a sub. You see, that's what Lindsay did because Lindsay wanted to be able to continue to actually chat in the chat. So if you want to actually continue to chat in the chat, keep tapping the screen or... you can go ahead and grab a subscription. So, you know, do all the wonderful things. Is it Jalise? How do I say your name, friend? I think, how's it pronounced?
You can call me Jeannie.
Jeannie, how are you?
You know me. Well, how dare you?
I'm sorry. Listen, it's hard to see like names here, and then I try to pick up like my phone to see. Jeannie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Jeannie, first question is, what does it look like to you, or what steps can we take as a country to actually start to move in the right direction to heal the country and tamper down some of the divisiveness?
To be honest, it's going to need a severe, kind of turnaround. Does that make sense? Like, okay, I'm trying to be also TikTok friendly, but like, to be honest, it's going to be a severe turnaround. So it's going to take a huge amount of people, let's say it that way, to go against or to fight, or no, wait, hold on, to go against and to... oh my God, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say in TikTok terms.
You know, there's not a lot of words that you have to necessarily filter yourself, as long as you're not saying like, you know, if you want to say unalive, pew pew, mustache man, C19, you can just go and I'll let you know if that's something that you can't say.
Okay, great. So I got some time. So I have like a minute and 35.
No. That's for the likes. And you got a bit of an echo. I need. Could you swipe out and then come back in? Like just swipe out. Just swipe up on your phone like you're going to check a text, and then come right back, and that'll fix the echo.
Did that
there
work?
We go. Yep, perfect.
It worked. Okay.
Yep, that's perfect. It's back.
It's okay.
Do it one more time.
Damn it. Okay, let me do it one more time. Hello?
I don't
if
think
not, I can put on my headphones.
Well, and I was just about to say, do you have on a Bluetooth?
No, I don't. I'm actually just on my phone. I can actually exit and then come back in if that works.
You said you think
or
it's me?
I can just...
oh, hold on one second.
It's not you. It could never be you.
No. So, hold on. Wait. So, does anyone still hear the echo? All right, Jenny, come back off of mute for me.
It doesn't sound like an echo to me. It's background noise.
Oh, it could be background now. It's okay. Let me go inside. Hold on one sec. It could be I'm outside right now.
I heard the echo once that I took you off of mute. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. No, it's not Hawk. He was talking when Jenny was off. Jenny, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop you down. When I drop you down, just
Wait, can you hear me now? I'm inside.
it's
that
not
better?
it's not the background noise. It's yeah, it's the echo. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop you down, and when I drop you down, just like force close the app and then come back in and request up. I'll bring you right back up. I won't put anybody in your spot.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna drop you down. All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Guys, we did not hit the actual like goal, so we are going to sub only. We are going to sub only. So if you want to actually continue to have these conversations, then, or be able to actually join in the conversation, then you need to actually tap the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. And boom, there we go. We're on sub only. Or you can grab a subscription. You can definitely grab a subscription and you can continue in the chat. Besides that, tap the screen. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. Also, guys, we still have $185 left in our nightly donation goal. There's 281 people hanging out. If 185 people send $1, we can close out our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoyed the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And if you're over on YouTube, you can always send a YouTube super chat to help support the live. Again, guys, if you're in the chat and you can't chat right now, tap the screen. As soon as we get to 100,000 likes, hey, Debbie's in the chat for Kiki. What up, Kiki? As soon as we get to 100,000 likes, we will open the chat back up. All right, Jenny, you want to try again?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's still a little bit of an echo. Go ahead. I'm going to be quiet. You go.
No, what the hell? No, I don't want it to be annoying for people, so it's still a bit of an echo.
Yeah, I think it's just me and I can play through it. Just, yeah, you go ahead. You got the floor.
Well, no, I don't want the floor if you're unable to hear me. So wait, hold on.
We can hear you. You're all good.
No, but you're okay with hearing me? Because I understand how, like, it can be with, you know, what do you call it? When you have neurodivergent. I get it, yeah?
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead. Also, W's in the chat for Sonny, who sent a $10 YouTube super chat. Thank you so much for that super chat, Sonny. You're awesome.
That's awesome. All right. I just, to be honest, I forget what we were talking about.
We were talking about what is it going to take to see a shift in the country and start moving in the right direction.
Ooh, yes. Okay, so can I actually, for a minute, say actually, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be possible just inside of your country. I think you're going to need the help of other countries, but not in the way that your government, like, obviously Donald Trump has kind of cut out other countries, but what I mean is that, like, as you as people can reach out to the other countries, like Canada and everyone else, and ask them to help you save you from your own country, basically. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to say this in a nice way, as in, like, we from outside are seeing this happen, and we're trying to let you guys know that, like, we're here for you, but also we are not going to kowtow to your government. However, we see what's happening, and we will absolutely save you from your own government. So if it comes to the point where you're all kind of like, okay, we're done with this BS, we will absolutely be there. Like, Canada, it's honestly, like, okay, to be honest, guys, regardless of what Donald Trump has said and what he has tried to make Canada feel like, we know, like, we love you guys. We love you guys. We will never, ever stop. Like, we still have a connection with you. But it's going to always be outside of your government now because of what Donald Trump has done. So, like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, that's something, and that's one reason why I put like global power, global superpower shifting. The United States is advocating, or not advocating, but gosh, what's the word? Relinquishing their position on the world stage, hey, and actually ostracizing themselves, and it's all about the government, and that's why I always have the question for people outside of the country is like, do you look at this as all of the United States, or do you look at it as the U.S. government? And because I think there's always a need to make that point and understand that there's a difference between the two.
You're absolutely correct. And to be honest with you, no, like Canadians do not see Americans as their government. So, like, we understand that what's happening in your government right now, and or what's happening in your country right now is completely aside from who you are as people, and we absolutely get that. But however, there are some people, like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna go on not a tangent, but I'm gonna just.
Well, and I was gonna say I wanted you to go ahead and finish your point, but the echo is starting to get to me now. So I was gonna shift off for a second, but go ahead and finish your point for me.
No, it's okay. What if I put on headphones? That might be better. Let me put on headphones and see if that works. I'm gonna mute myself and see if the headphones work.
Okay. So let me read these out, guys. W's in the chat for Maritime. Listen, I'm coming to you next because I have to hear from you. W's in the chat for Maritime, who sent a $5 donation saying Santana is always keeping it real 100. Listen, thank you for the $5 donation. I appreciate you. I genuinely do. Massive W's in the chat for Jess, who sent a $5 donation saying I'm poor, but I like you. Thanks for having me. Jess, you are amazing. You're absolutely amazing. You're way too kind. Listen, in times like this, it's really hard for everyone. And if there's anything that, I can do, our community can do, whatever, like, I promise you, we will help. So thank you for contributing, and never feel bad for anything that you do. Cause I genuinely mean this. When I say anything is accepted and everything's appreciated, I mean it. So there's that. But massive W's in the chat for Jess, massive W's in the chat for Maritime, guys. That means we only have $175 left in our nightly donation goal. To close out the nightly donation goal, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. If you're over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat if you want to support the live, and I will read your message out. Guys, we're at 84,000 likes. As soon as we get to 100,000 likes, we will come off of sub only and free the chat. So chat, if you want to join the conversation, I need you to keep tapping the screen. Maritime, I'm coming to you. Maritime, I need your perspective. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm going to go ahead and, pull the curtain back. Maritime is someone who voted for Trump, and he's been on the panel a couple of times, and we're not talking tariffs tonight, Maritime. But he is someone that has actually had really good conversations with us, and I appreciate it. And I think this is like the perfect conversation to get you in on. Because Maritime, my question isn't about like left or right. It's about all of us as Americans and the things that are happening that's affecting all Americans. And so the first question I have is, what do you think that we need to do, or what's the first step that needs to be taken to actually get us going in the right direction as a country?
So if we're not looking at this as left versus right, I think the number one thing that we need to do is ignore all the noise, because there's a lot of noise out there, and focus on the class warfare. I think that's one topic that everyone or most people can agree on, is disagreeing with an oligarchy system. Maybe we can tie it closer to, well, I used to be able to say tie it closer to see how Russia is doing it and how we don't want to be like Russia, and unite by arguing why are their taxes coming down at a higher rate than ours are, and how it's not fair.
Maritime, sorry.
I think
Sorry, can I?
yeah. Yeah, sorry, you were going to say something, Jeannie?
Oh, no. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry. 1 second, Jenny. Go ahead and finish your point, Maritime.
And I think that's the only fighting chance that we have, because every other topic, I think right now, we're too divided on. And I think the one topic that we can all agree on is that these rich people are getting richer, they have for years, and we're getting poorer. Even though we're making more, we might be making more money, but I think in the context of inflation and prices and costs, we're not. So I think focusing on that is key.
Wait, so do you think, because listen, I will give it to you, you are not the average Trump voter that I speak to, but I have never heard another Trump supporter speak to the oligarchy, or oligarchy, how you want to say it, but the actual class war that I agree with you is actually happening. You have a lot of people that are on the right who advocate for billionaires, who think that billionaires need more. So, I mean, have you heard that from other people on the right? Because I haven't.
Yes, and there are.
I got you, Hawk.
There are
Hawk, I'll come to you
Republicans.
next.
Like, I consider myself a Republican, not like a hardcore MAGA.
And then I'll come to you, Jenny.
Even though I did vote for him, and so I think what gets the most publicity is when we do have MAGA members, not moderate Republicans. Which, if that's so I don't hear a lot of people. Actually, the other day I did hear someone talk about it. Coincidentally, it happened to be, about the Social Security, Medicare. But I'm not going there. But I think, I don't think I'm alone in thinking this. I think the group that I know, or the people that I know, it's definitely gotten smaller. But there are reasonable, people, and so that's what I think.
Okay. 1 second here. Guys, again, we only need 10,000 more likes to open the chat. So if you want to actually get back to chatting, then go ahead and keep tapping the screen. Go ahead and get the likes up to 100,000 likes. As soon as we hit 100,000 likes, we will open the chat back up. Yeah. Let's go. Hawk, you had something.
Yeah. I cannot completely disagree with what he said, but I do have a question based on the verbiage that he used. Don't you think that the noise, as you call it, because you said ignore the noise and focus on the class, how did you say it, class?
I guess I said like class warfare or
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. So, but don't you think that noise contributes to the class warfare?
I don't know. I think it takes the focus off of it.
No, it actually contributes to it. The noise is them telling one side that they're this, they're that, and the other, and that this side is this, that, and the other, or whatever, to get them fighting against each other. So if we don't address the noise, then we can't help but have class warfare.
Well, I disagree. I think if you stop getting distracted, and I'm not saying that these aren't issues, because I do think some of these other things are issues, but I think if we focus on the one thing that we're closest on, that's how you bring Americans closer together.
I'm sorry, and I think you believe that, and I get that, but as an African American, as a black man in this country, that to me sounds just like if we don't talk about race, then racism won't exist. It sounds exactly like that, and that does not work. We have to address those issues because many of the so-called issues in the noise that we're speaking of or whatever simply are not true. It's noise that's put out there as propaganda to create the class warfare that you want to deal with. You can't deal with that without stopping the noise first.
Well, if we're talking about division in America, right? And we talk about the middle and lower class versus the ultra wealthy class, right? Wouldn't, in terms of ending the division, wouldn't that also include African Americans as part of?
So from your perspective, and I get that you don't see this the same way that I do, it's always been about class. Yes, racism is a thing, big time, right? But it's always been about. You can go back to the '60s when I think it was Johnson that made a statement about putting his hand in their pocket or whatever. The issue is it's always been about class. It's just gotten so extreme now that even the white people feel the same thing that the marginalized groups have been feeling for decades, if not centuries.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been about class. The Constitution was written by rich white men for rich white men.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't written for women because at that time, women were the properties of their families or their husbands. It wasn't written for indigenous peoples because they were considered savages. It wasn't written for black people because they weren't considered human at all. They were slaves. It wasn't written for us. It was written for white men by white men. And the amendments is how the rest of us have gotten our rights over the last 250 years.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what this current administration is doing is trying to wipe out all of those amendments.
Yep. Guys, just FYI, 4,000 more likes and we open up the chat. So keep tapping the screen. Gucci, I saw your hand in the chat and you wanted to add something to what Hawk was saying.
Yeah. I know Jenny raised her hand before I did, so I don't want to interject before her.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll go back. I just thought that black point was something.
No,
Go ahead and ride that wave real quick. Go ahead and ride that wave.
What
You got
Hawk is saying. I think I feel like Maritime is kind of projecting on, which I think is something that MAGA has started to do lately, is try to blame us as well for, like he said, listening to the noise and I'm getting distracted. One of the things I assumed we always knew was the class separation. I always assumed that we understood that the billionaires were not for the regular people until this election. And that's always surprised me because I feel like we on the left knew that that existed. We were not distracted by the noise. We did not listen to the propaganda. We did not listen to, I guess, the noise, basically. So
Gucci, I want to push back ever so slightly. I hear what you're saying, and I get why you're saying it that way. But here's the thing, right? We have always known that it was about class. They convinced poor white people that it wasn't because their line to them was, at least you're not black, or at least you're not Latino, or at least you're not one of them. You're one of us. And they believe that until now, because now it has gotten so extreme, it's affecting everybody. It's not just affecting the marginalized groups anymore. It's affecting everybody now.
Yeah.
Let me say this real quick. Welcome back, chat. Welcome back, chat. If you were not able to actually speak before, you can speak now. Also, this is what I want to do because, guys, we started a little late tonight and we're still going to end on time because I got a 5 a.m. meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the timer up, but this is what I want to do because I know there's a lot of people that haven't had an opportunity to speak. There's a lot of people that it's been super quiet for a while, and I really want to go ahead and be able to really flesh out this overall conversation. So I want to let everybody get a chance to actually chime in. So we're going to pass it around the panel and continue to do all the things. But keep tapping the screen, get the likes up to 150,000 likes, knock the daily gift goal out. It's the Let 'em Cook. Also, guys, we have $185 left in the, or wait, hold on. No, I'm sorry. $175 left in the nightly donation goal. There's 291 people here. So if 175 people can send $1, we can knock out our nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. And over on YouTube, you can send a YouTube super chat to support the live. And with that being said, I want to open it up. I want to pass it around. Let's have this conversation because I know a lot of people have a lot to add in. Express, who came in at the beginning of the conversation, was like the first thing she hit on was white supremacy, and like this is going back to it as well. So I want to hear from Express. I want to hear from Lindsay. I want to hear from everyone. Let's Hawk, Gucci, before we go off of you, anything from either one of you, any other items that you want to add in or words?
Yeah, I guess I just want to clarify like the point I was trying to make. It was my ignorance, assuming that we all understood the class separation in this country, and that's something that I have now realized that I was definitely wrong on. So I just wanted to clarify that part. So I 100% agree with Hawk.
Yeah. Santana, can I just respond to them real quick?
Sure. Well, I was gonna come to you, but yeah, I was gonna come to you after Hawk and then
All right, so
Jenny.
I'll let
But
Hawk go first.
yeah, Hawk, wrap your thought up. Maritime, I want you to finish, and then we're gonna try Jenny again, and then again I want to go to Lindsay, Express, and then Ace.
The only thing I really want to add is none of this is new.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely none of this is new. Keep that in mind as we have the rest of this conversation. That's all I need to say.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So the thing
go ahead, Maritime.
The thing I wanted to bring up to Gucci and Hawk about the noise, and you guys said that you guys focus on the class thing and don't let the noise distract you. I would disagree, and the two things that I would say that distracts the left would be the whole like the T movement and then the whole Middle East situation, right? Because that takes away. I'm not saying these aren't important things, right? We're just talking about division, how to bring people together. I don't think that those are things that bring people together right now.
So I want to use an analogy first, but I'm going to come back to yours.
No, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead.
That's all right. I'm going to come back to your specific point, but I want to use an analogy first. Do you have a car, Maritime?
Yeah.
Did you buy it new?
No.
Okay, but when you bought it, was the engine purring? It sounded all nice when you drove it. It was nice and quiet ride and everything. It was all cool, right?
Yeah.
If you got a ping in your engine and you started hearing this strange noise, do you just ignore that noise?
I know where you're going with this.
Just answer the question, please.
If I had multiple issues, I'd tackle the largest one that makes the car.
How do you know you have any issues at all if you didn't hear the noise?
So the ping is there. I bring it to the shop. I do whatever it takes to make sure the car is still running.
So
Wait a
again,
second.
you heard the noise, and that made you address the issue or address a issue because you didn't know exactly what it was. You just heard the noise, so you addressed it. What you're asking us to do is to ignore that noise and address something else altogether that ain't got nothing to do with the car no more.
But
That's a weird proposition to me.
but you're talking about a car too, so I don't think the analogy.
Again, I started out by saying I'm using an analogy, but okay, let's go back to your specific point. The issues that you brought up, those are not the noise. The propaganda as to what those things are is the noise. That's the issue. right? And that propaganda made people think things in weird ways instead of what was actually going on because we were being fed propaganda about those issues. That's the noise. We are currently being fed propaganda about what's going on between Ukraine and Russia. The Ukraine and Russia issue isn't the noise. The noise is the propaganda.
Okay, I hear you.
Okay. Human rights isn't noise. Lindsay, what would you like to add to the conversation?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm so excited you're coming to A&M. That's where I became a liberal. So it's a full
Hey,
circle moment for me.
that's what I'm talking about.
I think what Hawk said was really important, that like none of this is new. And so we have to frame this in an understanding of, if it was going to get better without paying attention to the noise, it already would have.
That's why I had to laugh so hard, because
That's exactly right.
So I just want to say, like, I took a legislative process course when I was at Texas Tech for law school. And one of the current sitting Texas state senators came in, and he told, like, when I asked him, why aren't you running for reelection? He was like, he's been in public service since like the 80s. So I was like, is it just because you're like super old, or like, what's the deal here? And he specifically said, like, it's a perk that I don't have to pretend to support Donald Trump anymore. So I think it's super, super important that we look at this as like, there needs to be intentional intervention, and it needs to happen like at every level. But that also includes like financial investment into things like what you're doing on A&M's campus, because that's the group that the right is going after so hard. And so it's like, it's not just about right versus left, but that's where the indoctrination seems to be like really starting, of like, well, you guys are now being disenfranchised. And it's like, that's simply not true in any way, shape, or form. But they're finding a group of people who feel like they've been quote unquote ignored, and just feeding that ego. And so there needs to be like really intentional intervention in that sense, because you have an entire demographic of voters coming into voting age who don't understand that MAGA is not even a conservative concept. Like, that's not what Republicans are. So that's just sort of where I come in.
Santana, you want an example on how this isn't new?
Hold on, because I want to play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
Lindsay, they are being ignored.
No, they're not.
They're absolutely being ignored. Young white men are being ignored.
In what sense?
The world is catered to them. Why should they have to actually have any type of attention or focus on them? Why should they have... Oh, hold on. Young white men don't have the pleasure of being beneficiaries of DEIA. They don't have the pleasures of, or young white straight men don't have the pleasures of being protected or talked about or advocated for as far as being part of the trans community or the queer community. Young white men don't have the actual pleasures of, having to worry about or having people talk about their reproductive rights. And so they are being ignored and no one's advocating for them. What do you say to that?
I say it's not true.
Oh, hold on, Hawk. This is not true.
Well, I was also going to say, first of all, it's not true. But that's where the propaganda of like them speaking to them, saying like they don't care about you. And it's like, nobody's come for you in the same way that all of those other groups have been come after. So what do you need that pleasure for? Like, what do that pleasure is privilege. Like, you don't need that.
And
you set up the system that way.
And DEIA protects all of us, including them, whether they believe it or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say earlier, Santana, is what you guys were just talking about to prove my point that none of this is new. Back in the 70s, they called that the silent majority.
Yep.
It's the same mess.
Yep. And they brought that back and this past election cycle as well. And which for the last couple election cycles I've been hearing that as well, like the silent majority. But no, like you guys are hawking, and that's why I didn't want you to say anything because I knew you were gonna pick up on it fast. But no, you guys are right. I mean, it's super interesting that that young white men that's the appeal that is being propagated. And so, Maritime, I kind of want to hear your thoughts because, like, what do you think? I mean, is that something that young white men are missing out on? And, like, is it a message that should resonate with them?
I mean, I can't really speak on their behalf. I mean, I'm only half white, but so.
Well, I mean, but just like understanding the people that are being targeted by,
Well, I think when
the
you were
other
playing
side.
devil's advocate, I think you made a good point, and I think Hawk made a point about propaganda, and I think, why is there a way to use media to make them feel heard in some type of way that they want to be heard, which I can't speak to what they want people to hear about them, but
there's a saying among marginalized groups that those people think equality feels like oppression.
Oppression, yeah. But and so this is what I'm like the point to all of that as well though is like I do, and people aren't gonna like this when I say this, but it's my thought. Those people are victims as well. People that are manipulated and fall for propaganda and are willing to actually openly accept those things. Yes, they lack a sense of self-awareness. Yes, they lack a sense of critical thinking. Yes, they lack a sense of empathy as well. But certain people are being manipulated. And that's a problem. And to an extent where that's what is happening, there's a lot, they're trying to manipulate everyone within the country, and that's a problem. Ace, you haven't said anything for a while. I want to hear from you.
Actually, so when Maritime was saying that he thinks the biggest thing that would help us come together was this focus on the class. How the super rich is oppressing middle class and lower class. Like Hawk, my radar was going off. This is and I want to be really nice about this. I don't want to say it, man.
Just be straight.
Be straight. It is
straight.
It is coming from privilege, and it's also, I think, not in good faith. Because if it was in good faith, how can your action, one being your vote for Trump, even validate that? That lets me know the noise is in your ear, and you want me to just ignore the noise and be willfully ignorant and follow you. I can't do that.
that's not my reason, and I'm not trying to mislead. My whole reason is from a fiscal perspective, and
Same thing. That my radar's going off more. Fiscally responsible, I am too. That does not point to Trump.
It's not. It's not that, Ace. It's tariffs. It's tariffs.
Nothing to do with tariffs, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. I was about to say I don't want to do the tariff dance again tonight.
I'm not going there.
but I can see two sides to what Ace is saying, right? I think he might actually believe it, but if he does actually believe it, it is definitely because of that. No, it's not the noise; it's the privilege, right? You don't have to listen to the noise because of your privilege, which is why you just want to stop all of that stuff and just focus on what you want to focus on, which again would be your privilege.
No, it's about my reason for voting is about we have these two Social Security programs that sorry, not Social Security. We have these
social safety nets.
social safety nets that is unsustainable, and to make it
and now we're going back to tariffs.
I'm not going to tariffs.
No, go ahead.
Hold on.
Get your thought.
Before you go further, I don't remember anybody running on the social safety net.
No, just let them. Okay, just go, Maritime. You got it. No. I mean, go ahead and flesh out your complete thought, because I know where you overall where you're going, but go ahead and take it wherever you want, so the rest of the people can understand what you're trying to say.
They did, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but
go ahead.
But these social safety nets are not sustainable right now. They're not affordable. What we pay in is getting dished out to the people who are receiving them right now, who are retired, whatever. And I think that we need to reduce how much that we're giving. And I think that's the fiscally responsible thing to do, because we're just going to drive our debt through the roof. Now,
Maritime, you and I
hold on.
I gotta ask this question real quick though. You and I had a conversation in another live, didn't we, Maritime? You're the one that wants the middle class to pay for this, right?
No, he wants everybody. He wants tax raises on everybody.
He thinks the rich people should pay, but he thinks we should pay too.
Yeah, he thinks everybody should be paying more taxes.
Yeah.
That's why he wants tariffs.
Exactly who he is. Okay.
Anyway, go ahead, Maritime.
But look, not only that first, yes, I agree that we should all, but also people above a certain income should not be receiving it. That would also increase the longevity of those programs. So on that basis was my vote, because that is part of the Republican platform at the end of the day.
So the first thing I want to say is that was not part of their platform when they were campaigning for 3 years. That none of that was said. However, to that point, first and foremost, for the duration of this program, had the rich people paid their fair share, because they don't, right? They're capped at a certain level and they make millions above that, and they don't pay Social Security tax on that extra money that they make. Had they had to pay Social Security tax on all the money that they make, like the rest of us do, then it wouldn't be where it is now. And even where it is now is not as bad as you seem to think it is. But none of this was campaigned on at all. This didn't come up until he actually took office and they started doing this stuff with Doge, right? Because their argument is that they were trying to save money. Now, those of us in the know believe that they're trying to save money so that they could give another tax break to the rich people, right? That's the reason they want to save money. But if in fact they really wanted to save money, instead of going after the social safety net programs that we have, which is paid for by our money and is in a separate pot altogether and is not touched or whatever, why not go after somebody like the DOD, which is the highest part of our budget at almost $900 billion, I'm sorry, and failed the last 6 or 7 audits that they've had over the last decade or so. Why not go after them where we know there's fraud, waste, and abuse?
See, that's why I can't take that in good faith. If you say, I want to be fiscally responsible, why isn't, hey, these tax cuts going to the top end of income earners should not happen, even before you discuss Social Security?
I'm sorry, why are we talking about a man who had 6 bankrupt companies being capable of being fiscally responsible? That's where I'm like,
that's a whole nother issue. But and again,
wait, hold on, guys. This is what I want to do, because the men have been talking a lot. Maritime, Hawk Ace, you two mute up for me just for half a second. Hawk Ace, Maritime, I want you to be able to speak for like one more second, kind of land your plane, and then I have to hear from Gucci Express and Lindsay Moore. Anything else that you want to add to that point?
So next time I come on your live, Santana, I will come up with the numbers that are proving that what the suggestions that are made to keep these safety nets are sufficient. I don't have them now, but I have listened to it. I'm not I can't pull it when needed. Damn it, and I forgot the second point, but I forgot my second point, but the overall point is that, and I'll come back with the figures, is that we all need to contribute more, and I'm just putting it from that perspective, because to bring in your point about the taxes requires bringing in tariffs, and I don't want to talk about that today. But that, I guess that is my overall point. And while Trump did not run on that platform, this has been part of the Republicans' platform forever. So you don't necessarily need to hear them say it to see that that is kind of what they want to do in terms of reducing the amount, and in my opinion, extending the longevity of those social safety net. And that's all. Thank you.
I don't agree with that. Lindsay, floor is yours.
No, I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at that face you just made. No, I want to hear what Gucci has to say. I've talked enough. Thanks for letting me up. I appreciate the conversation, y'all.
Absolutely. Gucci.
Okay. I just have one question for Maritime. Why are you against taxing the rich?
He's not.
I'm not. I think we all should be paying more.
He wants to tax everybody,
not we
Gucci.
all. Not we all.
No,
The rich.
Gucci.
No,
He
we
want
all.
no Gucci.
I'm
He wants to
talking about-
tax everybody.
Yes, middle class is probably contributes the most into funding than the top would. By increasing their taxes wouldn't be enough. So I'm not arguing against that, but I'm saying we also
Not we all.
we've also been
Not
Yeah.
middle class.
middle class's taxes
Not
have been
lower
dropping
class.
have been dropping like every year. Everyone always runs on dropping taxes for the middle class. Taxes always keep coming down.
No, Trump didn't.
Year
I
over
paid
year,
more
every
in
single
taxes under Trump's tax plan. He may have dropped it like 1 to 2%, but like he took away deductions that benefited corporations.
You
So
mean individuals?
huh?
You mean individuals? You can't itemize anymore. It's you don't get like the big deductions with itemization anymore under the TCJA.
Yes. So overall, I ended up losing money. I owed taxes under Trump for the first time. Like it did not benefit the middle class or the lower class at all.
But you're talking about 4 years. This has been going on for far longer than 4 years. It's been almost every presidential election is a platform they're running on. Reduce the taxes, reduce the taxes, reduce the taxes.
Not for
It's going down.
corporations. Did Obama run on that?
I'm talking about for the middle class, which is what I think is the substantial amount of funding is going to come from and needs to come from.
From the middle class.
Yeah. Yes, it's the largest
The
class.
people there are already struggling in carrying the economy. They're the ones you want to tax more.
I think it's a
Do
need.
you think that Jeff
programs.
Bezos is like struggling to pay his bills right now?
No, and I never said that, which goes back to what I'm saying. You can increase his taxes. What I'm saying is it won't cover the deficits of our social safety net.
Yes, it will.
It
It
won't.
has in the past.
It won't. And you people bring that up. They bring up this 1920s 90% tax rate. Little do they know, no one actually paid that. It wasn't like
I
everyone.
wasn't going to get into that far back. But
Yeah.
I just they have more than they could ever spend in their entire life. The middle class people are barely making bills, like their monthly bills, living paycheck to paycheck. You want to tax them more
I want.
than the man who has mansions and mansions that they don't live in. They have so much money that their generation after generation can never spend. And you want to tax the middle class and the lower class more.
Everyone, not just those two. Not really the lower class.
That's
Really
the
middle
point.
Huh?
That's the point. You can't increase taxes on everyone.
And so I'll say this. I think there's been a conversation, and the point that I've tried to get across is expressing that there's so much money piled up at the top.
So much money.
That there's definitely a need to hold those people accountable. And so I think that we are missing a lot of opportunity. That's why, in Maritime, I've told you this before. I've had that conversation. I don't agree with that premise. Like I hear you. I don't agree with you, but I hear you. But let's do this real quick because it is getting closer. I don't know if everyone sees the timer on the screen. Your boy does have a 5 a.m. meeting, so I want to make sure that we do this because I know there's still a couple other thoughts that has to be heard, but I want to come back to Express because one, Express hasn't got to say anything in a while, and two, a little birdie just put something in my ear, and I just found out who Express is. So there's that. But anyway, Express, what do you have? What would you like to add? Fix this darn camera.
All right, I have a few thoughts. Let me look at my notes. So the conversation skewed a bit from what I was planning on saying, but so first of all, Maritime mentioned a lot disagreeing with the race versus caste system, but you can't technically disagree with history. Like, that's fact. So that's not something that's a disagreement. Your face gets so close. And then secondly, so I live in Florida, right? And I technically last year made middle class income based on what middle class income is. My rent per month is $2,400, which would be almost $30,000 per year. So that would be like, and I lost my job in February, so I'm not going to make that this year, right? But that is, I would be basically paying more rent than I am making income based on a middle class salary after you pay for all of the rest of the bills. So saying that you want everybody to pay more taxes, including the middle class, is wild. And I made good money. I'm a nurse, okay? So like me being middle class, that's a privileged take. And your take, I believe, is also privileged. Next point. You were talking about listening to the noise. So sometimes I just want to point out that noise is made to recognize that something is wrong. When your bowels are making a lot of noise, that means that something's wrong in there. You either
you got the BGs.
Yeah, you either need to go to the bathroom or you have a bowel obstruction, sir. So something is wrong. So when there's a lot of noise coming out, I think that means that you should be paying it more attention.
Or stop eating Taco Bell.
Yeah, one or the other. It's debatable. And then the last thing, land my plane. In the movie Wicked that came out recently, they said one of the lines was that one of the best ways to power is to make a really good enemy. And I think you should really think about that in terms of the noise that you speak of and the people that you're talking about affecting, being the middle and lower class. If you have an enemy, then it makes you focus less on yourself and less on what you can do to improve. If you're the good guy, there has to be a bad guy. Quote unquote. And that's all I have.
Maritime, did you want to respond to anything that expressed that?
The one thing I want to bring up is you mentioned basically the middle class can't afford to pay more. I mean, there is another option that doesn't require us to raise taxes, and that's reducing the benefits as well. That's another way that we can go about that.
I don't get any benefits.
Right. Yeah, but I'm talking about the social safety nets, the people who do get it. You reduce those benefits is another way, and then we don't have to increase taxes. And then to your point about the noise, I'm not saying it's only a left thing. It happens on my side as well. especially with this guy who is deported, which I heavily disagree with. It impacts us too, right? So I think by not like when there's a new headline every day, we lose focus of the things that we have in common, and that's what I mean when I say we need to put that aside for now, bring ourselves together, and then we can better tackle those things. Because right now, people are disagreeing, like both Republicans and Democrats are disagreeing with each other just because we're Democrats or Republicans. And if we're together, we can stop looking at it that way and look at the actual issue and then tackle that.
And I agree with you. Oh, go ahead, Santana.
No. Go ahead and say what you have to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree with you on that. But what you're talking about is community. So what I am asking you is, are you going to help pay my rent so we can come together?
Are you going to pay my bills? Gonna pay my automobile bills? You going to pay my telephone bills? Then maybe we can chill.
Well, that's a good question.
I don't think you do. Go ahead. Well, listen, guys, seriously, it's t-shirt time. I know I started late. I do want to wrap this up because, again, I have a 5 a.m. meeting. But I want to end it here. I know you guys have a question, but please come back tomorrow. I promise I'll be on time tomorrow. If you guys want to come back, you guys know you're more than welcome. But I want to end it here. And Maritime, I want to hear from you first because you said this, and I hear you. I kind of think it's you're missing a little bit, but I hear you. What are you personally planning on doing to try to help benefit the country coming together? Us actually, and I guess in your words, block out the noise. But like, what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna try to listen to what Bernie has been saying, and then and see where that leads. I honestly don't know what, besides what I suggested, I don't know what there is to do. And like, I get flack for some of my views from MAGA, and like, regardless of my vote. So it's like, sticking to the topic, that's the only thing that I can see to bridge the gap. And I know you guys disagree with me, but I haven't really heard any suggestions. And maybe that's going to be, I know it's a little late for that, but that was my suggestion. I didn't hear any suggestions, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Well, Maritime, I appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you down. All right. Hawk.
If you ever make me listen to that again,
I'll give you a moment to respond, but then I got a question for you as well.
Okay, well, I've been asked already to keep this short, and I will because I know it's t-shirt time.
I didn't say it, but
here's the issue, though. Again, none of this is new, and I want everybody in the chat to understand this. Everything that he said is misinformation. It's all wrong. The middle class was built on all of the things that he said now are bad. If we do the things that he said, the middle class as we know it will cease to exist. It's going away as we speak, but it will cease to exist if we do the things that he says, right? Regulations, which Republicans have been whittling away at for the last 45, 50 years, and taxes on the people that can afford to pay taxes, and the corporations, by the way. Mm-hmm. Those are the things on how we're going to solve it. And he's heard all of that before. I've been in other lives with him where we've given him proof, and he's actually backed down on some of these things. So for him to say he hasn't heard any alternative answers, he's lying. And I'll leave it at
that. All right. Hawk, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do to make our country better? Like, what you personally, what are you going to do to actually try to, I guess, reach across the aisle and pull someone out of where they are to a better place?
I had an answer until you said reach across the aisle. I don't know why y'all want to keep reaching across the damn aisle. Because every time we reach across the aisle, they run back and hide in the corner.
They do.
Right?
They do. They do not like that.
So, but what I will do is what I have done, and not on purpose, I have done my entire life, is educate everybody I can on the knowledge that I have. And at this point, it's more than I want to say that it is. But I've been mentoring and educating people my entire adult life, and I will continue to do that and give them the information. And again, you don't have to take my word for anything that I say. Everything that I tell you, you can easily look up and prove it to yourself. But I will continue to put out the correct information and educate people as best I can. That's all we can do. It's going to be up to them whether or not they accept that information or not. We can't make them think a certain way.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. 100% agree with that. That's weird. I think that what do you do when they're just too stubborn? Like, I mean, but
you're gonna get me in trouble.
I know. Cause look, W's in the chat for Caleb, who just sent $1.99 YouTube super chat that said we can never give up. Like Hawk, what do we do?
Before now, I'll tell you what I have done. Walk away. They only get so, again, you cannot make another human being think a certain way. You can try to reason with them and everything else, but once you get, and look, I taught this to my son when he was 10 years old. You have to give yourself a limit, right? You think that you're doing the best or whatever, that's awesome. But give yourself a limit, because you will beat your head against that concrete wall forever because they will let you. So you give yourself a limit, and once they cross that limit, walk away. They'll figure it out. And look, I used to tell this to my students. Everybody gets it. Some of us get it when we're young. That's great. Then we get to live our life doing all of these great things because we get it. Some of them don't get it until the last damn second. They get it, and then their eyes close, and that's it. They're gone.
Yep.
That's sad for them, but that's what it is.
Absolutely. Well, Hawk, I appreciate you for coming up.
Not a problem.
Thank you. All right. I wanna come to Ace next, but before I do, guys, if you take a look at the panel in the corner, it says Culture and Chaos Podcast. That is mine and Jessica Simone's newest podcast. Make sure you're following the Culture and Chaos Podcast TikTok. Did someone just kick it? What in the world is happening? Did someone just kick it? I'm gonna have to figure out what's happening. Anyway, Ace, question for you.
Yes, sir.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I'm not
to
gonna
help fix our country.
I am definitely not gonna try people's, hearts and minds. They've already been set. Some of them set in stone. I'm on the fence of let's add players to the game. Let's get more voices in this song, because there's a lot of people not in the fight right now. Mm-hmm. That is how we can tilt and probably get our country in the right direction. Mm-hmm. So that's on where I'm at. Am I going to change? Am I going to change a MAGA? Probably not.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's something to be said about that. In the sense that I agree with you. So I guess I'm gonna lean into that just for like half a second. What's next? Like, what's the next thing as far as like a voter drive or like education? Like, what are you gonna do then?
Definitely campaign in my state. I'm in Texas. I'm the one that goes out there and tries to get this. If you guys don't know what it is, it's ranked choice voting.
I was just talking about that last
it
night.
really can, get us out of this bind of a two-party system, maybe open up more people, get people to be more open about ideas. Aim small, miss small. Local elections within your community, Latino, Black, Asian, white, within your community would be also good. Aim small, miss small. You don't have to tackle, the whole White House in your first day trying to get this done. Start small.
Yep, absolutely. Ace, I appreciate you so much. I'm gonna drop you down.
Great show.
All right, thank you. Oh, also, I don't know what part of Texas you're in, but I'm gonna be in Texas in a couple of days for the Unfuck America tour.
Oh, I heard you. I'm North Texas. I'm DFW area. I heard you.
All right. I appreciate you. I'm gonna drop you down. Guys, W's in the chat for Lady Ball. Lady Ball just sent a $5 donation. Thank you, Lady Ball. Lady Ball sent a $5 donation saying, I'm a baby boomer. I don't have time to keep starting over investing in my immediate family. I know that's right. W's in the chat for Lady Ball, who said, ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah, guys, we still have $170 left in the nightly donation goal. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all the pay links are linked here in bio. Santana Speaks 24, best way to support the live. Everything's accepted. Anything's appreciated. Also, W's in the chat for Caleb, who used his membership super chat to say, oh, shoot, I'm your second ever member right after Russell. 1 month has flown by. Santana, keep doing what you're doing. Caleb, you are freaking awesome. You have been rocking it over on YouTube, and I appreciate you so much. All right, sorry. Express. What are you gonna do to reach those people and start helping heal our country?
That's what I wake up and ask myself every day. The struggle's real. I think my priority right now is talking to other white people and encouraging them to also talk to their kids, to educate them on history and also what's really going on and systemic racism, because I truly believe that that's the root of all of this madness. So that's my priority at the moment.
Yeah, listen, you came in hot and heavy, talking about white supremacy, and I was like, I like her. So no, but like I agree, right? I mean, I think there's a deep, not I think there is a deep rooted connection as far as white supremacy and then the patriarch, and just understanding how that impacts people on multiple levels, and not just white people, but people of all races, and women. It's a whole intersectionality deal, right? And so I think dismantling the patriarch, dismantling white supremacy, like that's the only way forward, and that's the only way to actually be beneficial to all people. So you had my interest when you first came up, but you have my attention now, and you know why. So there's that.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye.
Gucci.
What's up?
Gucci.
Hey.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you you've been hanging out with me all night. Right? I know usually, you and me, we be out of town thugging with our rounds, right? You always here in the live, but like this is the first time you've hung out on the panel, so I really appreciate that. And you've been here since the start of the night to now. So that's why I wanted to give you the floor last, but I really wanted to hear what you have to say. So with that being said, what are you going to do?
I'm an immigrant, and I've been in this country for about 17 years, but I've only been a citizen for 2 years. And the one thing I looked forward to the most was voting. And so I tried for the last two and a half years to educate myself on politics, basically, so I can be an informed voter. And it blows my mind that there are people who didn't care enough to like educate themselves before. And I've learned a lot in these lives, and I've had conversations with other people, and I've realized a lot of people don't know what's going on at all. So one of the things I've been trying to do is spread the word. Like Hawk said, like talk to the people around you, whoever is going to listen. You know, so someone might get it, others might not, but we can only try.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that I want to get across is like I understand it's not going to be easy, right?
Yeah.
And that's I was having this conversation with someone about like this topic because I didn't share this topic with the people that I normally share with, and it really, like, I kind of hinted at it this morning while I was on another live, and a lot of people are like, no, like F that side and F that side. But at some point we have to figure it out, right? I mean, this administration isn't going to figure it out. The government isn't going to figure it out. Like we're in a constitutional crisis. You know, the world is falling apart. The people are losing their livelihoods and their lives, and it has to start with we the people.
Yes. And I think being on the side that we are, unfortunately, being on the right side means you have to work harder to get other people on your side.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you may have to carry most of the load.
You know, so and I know my wife has told me like 50 times to wrap this up in the background, but I'll just say this. So I was at the Bernie Sanders AOC rally this weekend in LA. Howdy, partner. And I had the opportunity to actually spend time with other creators, right? Other leftist creators. And we had the same conversation. So I'll just say, so it was me, Parker, IRI, and Evan sitting at a table, and we were talking about like history and how people believe that they're on the right side of history. But even more so, how history is written by the victors. And so, yeah, even if you feel like you're on the right side of history, at the end, if you're not the people that actually quote unquote wins, then you're always going to be on the wrong side. So if we truly believe in what we were saying, then one, we have to find those victories. We have to get those people, like Ace was saying earlier, get those people to vote, get those people to actually use their voice. But also, too, we have to find a way to reach those people that feel like that we're on opposite sides and pull them closer. Because if we really want to be on the right side of history, then we have to make history.
Yep.
So
it is not easy.
Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate you coming up and hanging out with me tonight. You were awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. Hey guys, if you look down in the corner and there's still one person left up here, that is the Culture and Chaos Podcast TikTok. Make sure you're following. There's 289 people here. I know all 289 people are not following the Culture and Chaos Podcast on TikTok. And if you're over on YouTube, go search it up. It's at Culture and Chaos Podcast, at Culture and Chaos Podcast. Make sure you're following the Culture and Chaos Podcast. We dropped our first episode today. It is a banger. A banger. I bet my fitted cap on that. Matter of fact, go watch the whole episode and come back, and if you don't like it, I will give you the hat off my head. Yes, I said it. I will give you the hat off my head. If you go to the podcast and watch the whole thing from beginning to end and you're like, I don't mess with that, come back, tell me, I will give you the hat off of my head. I mean it. So make sure you go check it out. The Culture and Chaos Podcast. We put a lot of work into it. It's going to be a weekly podcast that we put out every Monday at noon with myself and Jessica Simone. It's something that we're doing that's super important. And so I think you guys are going to love it. And also make sure not only do you follow us on YouTube, like, subscribe, But leave a comment. The best comment from this week's podcast, for anyone that watches and listens and actually puts the best comment, we will read it out on the next pod. So make sure that you do that. And we're working on there. It was supposed to be on like Spotify, Apple Music, all this other stuff today, but we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. So we're going to make sure that we get that uploaded as soon as possible. But until then, you can see it on YouTube, which you get all the visuals as well, because we worked hard on the visuals as well. And plus, you know, I'm cute. Jessica's okay, but I'm cute. Don't tell I said that. Whatever. I'm cute. Jessica's okay. So you can get the visuals, right, if you guys do that. So make sure you check that out. Last couple of seconds, make sure you're following the pod. If you're not following, it's on the panel right now. Click on the screen, tap the plus button, and that's how you follow the Culture and Chaos podcast TikTok. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it down. Alrighty, guys, listen. It's been a wonderful night. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And the whole point of tonight has been focusing on, like, what do we do, right? And this is going to be the theme of the week. And it's going to get uncomfortable for a lot of people. Because, again, I know there's a lot of people on the left that are hurt. And you have every right to be hurt. You have every right to be angry. Yes, we are in a constitutional crisis. Yes, people have their human rights being stripped away from them. Yes, we're in a financial free fall. But we can't give up. That's just my opinion. We can't give up on not only ourselves, but we can't give up on other people. And if we have an opportunity to be kind and actually figure it out, then I'm of the opinion that we should do it. So I know this isn't going to be popular all week, and I know I'm not going to be on everyone's favorite all week, but I promise you this is a conversation that needs to be had because we the people. Anywho, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Is anyone live? Who's live? Anyone live? Who's live? You guys want to raid anyone? Is there anyone? I don't know who's live. I can't really see it. Anyway, find somebody. Matter of fact, go into any random live and just yell Santana raid. Oh, Jessica's live? Yeah, go raid Jessica Simone. Yeah, let's go raid Jessica. Let's do that. Let's go raid Jessica. Jessica Simone is live. Let's go raid Jessica Simone. JESSICACYMONE. Jessica Simone. Let's go raid Jessica, everybody. Santana raid. Let's get out of here. I love you all. Thank you all. I will see you all tomorrow. And as always, peace.